Thank you. Honorable Member for Central Baddibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, we have two things before us. That's the motion by the Honorable Minister and the report of the Standing Order Committee, the Human Rights and Constitutional Matter Committee. Madam Speaker, I will first look at the motion tabled by the Honorable Minister. Madam Speaker, anyway, the motion is timely since there is pandemic in the world. But before the motion being in place, Madam Speaker, I think it's important for the minister to tell us this first state of emergency being declared by the president. I think there should be an assessment on that. They should tell us what were their hurdles and why the need for another extension. Because to me, what you have here is not enough to convince us that there is need for an extension. Though we know that we have 4 cases in the country and we have 1 death, as reports shown. But the state of emergency for 90 days, I think, Honorable Minister, you need to lament more on that. We need more facts as far as that one is concerned. Madam Speaker, going by the motion also, the minister stated that, so the survival of the human race and our small country in particular is at stake. As a government, we are entrusted with the responsibility to lead collective efforts to fight this pandemic in any way we can and with every tool at our disposal. Madam Speaker, many people in this country are not comfortable with the extension. And as the minister stated, we need common effort. If there is a group or there are other people not ready for this extension or a state of emergency, I think it will be ideal for us to see how we can convince them. And Madam Speaker, having a state of emergency goes with a lot of things. And as a government, as people, are we ready for that? The livelihood of many governments will be affected or they are at stake, particularly the business fraternity. Madam Speaker, the revenue that is raised by the councils, if there is a state of emergency, would those revenues be forthcoming? And if they are not forthcoming, what will be its adverse effect on the livelihood of the people? I think this is what we should look at. And the income of the people who are working in various offices. Do we have a plan how to compensate them? How to ensure that they have money in their houses or they have basic food in their houses? Because food is a right. It's a constitutional right. Madam Speaker, that will take me to section 116 of the Constitution, social objectives, subsection 4. The state shall endeavor to facilitate equal access to clean and safe water, adequate health and medical services, habitable shelter, sufficient food and security to all persons. Sufficient food. So if there is state of emergency right now, if this price of rice and essential commodities are skyrocketing, are we ensuring that our families will be fed with food? That's a fundamental question that we need to ask. So I believe the moment where we are in, as other members highlighted, we need common effort. We need to come up with a roadmap before we declare another extension or before we go for 90 days. the 500 million being pronounced, how are we going to share that one? How are we going to ensure that the people who are going to be affected are compensated? I think we need to focus on that. After doing that, then we can be rest assured that we can go in for that period of a state of emergency. And Madam Speaker, secondly, or thirdly, as the saying goes, when the head gets intoxicated, it affects the whole body. I think it's high time. You cannot say it's only the Minister of Health or Finance Minister will come out and talk to the Gambian people. I said last time here, and I'm going to repeat it, the President should come out and communicate to the people so that our people know how serious this is. We have seen other world leaders, they are appearing on screen talking to their people almost every week. And they tell them the plans that they have for them. We need our leader to come out and tell us what they have for us. Since you said it's a common effort, but it has to start with the leadership. The Ghanaian president did it. 3 months surrender, sacrifice for this cause. President Adam Barrow should tell us what package he has for Gambian people. It's time for us to come together and tell each one the reality as leaders so that we move forward. Madam Speaker, coming to the report, I have some recommendations that I will add to the report, to the recommendation made by the committee. Recommendations. One, the prices of essential commodities that we have here. In fact, some of the quotations here are more than the exact or actual price in the market. I don't know how did they come up with this. And this made, in fact, our business, men and women, to go for more. Because rice, for example, a bag of rice, broken rice, 100%, in my area, it was 1,150. When this pronouncement was made, it rose up to 1,250. So I don't know whether a proper market study was done on this issue. So we want more clarity on this issue. So if the prices are not controlled, and we want people to stay, we want people to be controlled to minimize their movement, it will be like what Honorable Member of Fonyi Jaro said, it can lead to social unrest. Because you cannot ask people to stay in when they are hungry. It's not possible. And we have to assess ourselves, the 7 days declaration, what happened in this country? Did people abide by the proclamation be made? Did people close their shops as expected? Did they restrict their movement? This is what we need to assess and see what we need to do. And, Madam Speaker, another recommendation is agricultural ministry should be involved. Because this is a pandemic, we don't know when shall it be ended. So the Ministry of Agriculture should come up with a plan how to grow early rice, either in CRR or other part of the Gambia where it's possible. So that in case if ships are not coming, in 3 months' time, we can harvest our own crops. I think these are some of the things that we need to come up with. It's not only Ministry of Health, about this thing. We need the food aspect. We need the business aspect, the trade aspect. So we need to do multifaceted approach as far as this issue is concerned. It's not only to declare state of emergency. No. Madam Speaker, coming to the prisons. Our prisons are congested. And in the report, I haven't seen anything anywhere where it is clearly stated that we should make a strong recommendation for the congestion of our prisons, as other people are doing. These are some of the things that we need to, be talking about. We need to emphasize on that so that our prisons be decongested, because that place is not a good place, as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Madam Speaker, another recommendation also will be, if you want to embark on this state of emergency, then people need to be paid for 1 month's salary to stay in their house. Those on daily wages, government see how to subvent them. Now the taxi drivers, if you want them to follow the regulation, let us see how to make a special package for them. Stimulus package, they need stimulus package. If those ones are not in place, it will be very difficult for our laws to be fully implemented. Madam Speaker, coming to the restrictions on open market and shopping, I have recommendations. I believe some of the sections that are stated here should be deleted completely. They should be deleted or they should be amended. Like where you have a fine of 500,000, that's too much. In this trial and tribulation, you want to charge somebody for 500,000? No. You have 500,000 somewhere. I know what I'm telling you. Check. I know 500,000 is there. It's too much. It's too much. I'm recommending it to come to $10,000 at least. Madam Speaker, there is a section also which talks about the opening of shops from 2 o'clock to from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Madam Speaker, I'm recommending extension from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because the time frame is very short. So if you want to make it from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock, that will not be ideal. And non-essential goods, as we used to call them, the shops or shopkeepers that are selling those commodities, they should have equal treatment like essential goods. We should not stop or close their shops because they are not selling essential goods. The money that they raise from their shop is the money that they will use to buy essential goods. So we cannot be firefighting. And in any trial and tribulation, we believe that we can have solutions to the problems. We should not be in a, we should not see ourselves in a desperate situation and act desperately. We should not, negotiate out of fear. Because when this thing, when we had the news that our neighbors in Senegal, they have cases, we recommended for closure of our borders, but the executive did not act. So I think we need to take our time. We need to, emphasize on some of the rules that have been, highlighted by WHO, and we try to promote hygiene. It's very important. Rather than we try to kill ourselves with stress. If you ask people to stay in, you limit them, you deny their fundamental rights, so what is going to happen at the end of the day? They will die of stress. So, honorable members, I think this moment is important for us to look at. I think the government, the government was over ambitious for 90 days. The recommendation made by some of the members or the committee, let's look at that. Let's give them a short time frame. We monitor what is going to happen. But if you say 90 days, some of the people are saying this is not political. I don't know whether they really understand the word politics, what it means. It's about decision making. It's about decision making. We are making a decision for our people. Maybe you have other intentions, that's why you are talking about that political ideas. We are here, we are politicians, and we are making decisions for Gambian people. So, Madam Speaker, I want the Honorable House to know that a lot of Gambians, if you listen to radio, it's a concern. This state of emergency is a concern to Gambian people. It's a concern to Gambian people. Before we endorse it, let us ensure that there are certain things in place before our people will die of hunger. We know that COVID-19 is real and no MP is joking with it. And it will be difficult to determine what we are doing, but each and every one of us, you can tell what you have been doing in your area. So, but we must be ready, the government must be committed, and the government must tell Gambian people, do they really have this 500 million? Because what I'm hearing from other honorable members, how can they be coming here for 4 days only to be given, limited buckets for their constituency? The health facilities, they don't have sanitizers. In my area, they don't have at all. So let us not give the ministry stress. If there is no money, let the Minister of Finance tell people that this is a projection. This 500 million is not available. We are trying to get it from one source to another source so that we can make things. We have to be clear to the Gambian people. My people are Badibunkas. They think that this 500 million is there. We are going to share it. To be honest. If you want them to stay, they think that they will have their share. So let's speak to the Gambians, in a language that they will understand. Thank you.